we are going to review how we load the sprayer with glyphosate and then how we actually operate the sprayer from the ATV. This allows us to spray weeds along the entrance road, the middle of the entrance road, as you see in the background, along fence rows, and at the base of all of those walnuts back there, some 3,000 plus walnuts. So now we are going to mix the compound glyphosate discovered by Monsanto back in the 1970s into this tank and fill it with water. So Doug, hold up the white Cornerstone Plus. That is the brand name for glyphosate sold locally at the co-op store in Columbia. Now, I could have spent more money and bought Roundup, and does the same thing. One would say, well, you worked for Monsanto for 32 years, so you should be buying Roundup just out of loyalty. Well, loyalty only goes so far, and when it reaches back around into your back pocket for money, you begin to look at the cheaper products that do the same thing. How much of that glyphosate do we put into that 35-gallon spray tank? Well, 32 ounces. So Doug is going to pick up a bottle, which is a soda bottle, that we use to measure 32 ounces, and eventually we're going to pour the glyphosate into that 32 ounces and then put it into the big tank. And fill it with water, which will go over to the front of the house and get the water hose hooked up and fill the tank up. Once the tank is near the top of being full, we will pour in what's known as a surfactant. Doug is holding that Surf 80 brand surfactant, and we will put in 1 cup of that surfactant. What does the surfactant do? Well, it causes the Roundup, or glyphosate in this case, mix to adhere to leaves and gives you more efficacy, which means effectiveness of the spray onto the leaves of a plant to kill the plant. So we have filled the 32-ounce soda bottle with that glyphosate compound, and now Doug is going to pour the concentrated glyphosate into the tank. And we will drive this over to the front of the house and fill the tank up with water. So now we have the ATV in front of the house with a water hose hooked up, and we have the water hose going into the 35-gallon tank, and we are going to sit here and watch it fill very carefully so it doesn't spill over. Then we would start to kill this wonderful green grass down here. So we will watch it very carefully. And just a quick second about what we used to do before the house was built. It was such a tough life back then. All we had was the barn. And in the barn we kept 6 of these 5-gallon cans, plastic cans, maybe 7 of them. And we had to go to town or over to the Culleoka store and ask permission to fill those plastic jugs with water. Then we could come back over here and fill this tank up from those plastic jugs. But look what we get to do now. Now Doug is going to add 1 cup of the surfactant. So he has the surfactant, he's going to take the top off, he's going to pour out 1 cup and just add it to the top of the spray, on top of the 35-gallon tank.
That's 1 cup.
Okay, great, pour it in. Someone might say, well, why didn't you put that 1 cup in first, then add the water? Why? Because the instructions on that plastic bottle that Doug has in his left hand says that surfactant is the last thing you add to the mix, and that's what we're doing. So Doug is coming down our road. He's got the sprayer, and with his left hand he's spraying the road, catching all of the green grass that's growing, which will then kill the grass like in the area right here in front. And he's just going to continue doing this all the way down to the Booker turnoff. Then he'll come back spraying the other half of the road. That way we keep the grass off out of the gravel. Besides that, it makes it look like somebody's living here, taking care of this property, and that will discourage people from driving in here and looking around. Somebody lives here. Another option to spray is to extend the boom at the back of the sprayer as shown in this picture. And we change the valves at the front of the tank to allow the flow from the pump to go to these booms. And you can cover this road in front of the ATV at about half the road each trip. It's a nice, efficient way to spray, but it does use quite a bit of spray. Try it.